La
Good
alcaldía
morning.
y de la
On
Organización
behalf of the Mayor's Office
Panamericana
in Bogotá and the Pan American Health Organization, I warmly welcome you to this very important event, which is the regional launch of Wellness Week 2023. This celebration has been held since 2000 to promote a conservation of health and recognize the importance of health promotion for the well-being of individuals and communities. Under the theme, the care we need, the care we want, today we come together to generate critical awareness of the fundamental role of citizenship in health and well-being of people. This week gives us the opportunity to reflect on the need to rethink care with the aim of building more comprehensive, sustainable, and equitable systems. In addition, we seek to raise awareness about the importance of an intersectoral and participatory approach. We are here in Bogota, one of the 5 cities worldwide participating in the WHO, together with our global project on urban governance of health and well-being. This initiative highlights the importance of the local level to implement intersectoral and participatory policies essential to address care from a comprehensive perspective and to the population. Now, let's move on to today's agenda. We have an agenda full of meaningful content. So let's get started. I would like to welcome our special guest. Come forward this discussion. You will give the floor to each one of you. And well, we are going to start with Jarvis Barbosa. He's the director of the Pan American Health Organization, who will be joining us. The floor is yours, Mr. Barbosa. Thank you. Good morning to everyone who are here with us today. First of all, I would like to thank the Health Secretary Alejandro Gomez Lopez, the Secretary of Health of Bogota, Colombia. Also, Joyce and Jones, Executive Director of CARPA, and also the Mayor of Bogota, Ms. Claudia. Also, to the different municipalities from Kennedy, San Nicolas, and El Puente, and the President of the Colombian Association of Public Health, Juan Eduardo. Thank you so much for your participation here. I'm so pleased to welcome you here to this Wellness Week. This is a celebration that has been launched from 2011 with the purpose to promote health. The campaign of this year is focused in care. We all know that it's not enough of health services. We need to widen our vision and to highlight everything that influences on well-being of the promotion of health addresses vision by which people can have health and health, they recognize the origin of health and it has a look for the integral vision, which is key to work jointly between government and communities as well. Due to its tight work with people in community this year about the care we need, the care we want, we wanted to focus ourselves in care. Although many vital stages or disease stages or vulnerability require more care. Talking about care, I want to know that all people need and deserve different care through our lives. This is why, through our own experiences, we are really aware that taking care of people or being cared requires resources and time. One integral approach of care that will respond to the real needs of population is relevant in our society. In a constant changing and evolving world, it's fundamental to move forward toward integral policies that will allow us to care holistically to our communities, families, and our dear families. Also, the integral care also involves our relationships. This has a profound effect in our health and well-being as well. We are surrounded by people to be cared and loved. Emotional support is contributed to a well, it, uh, we cannot move forward without an environment, a healthy environment in our well-being. To have access to clean water and also to a holistic, these are components, essential components of an integral care. We need to take care and preserve our environment. We need to provide a future, a healthy future for the generation. It is so essential to empower people to take proactive measures and be part of that social change. One of the most important challenges that we have as a society is to move forward to a redistribution of the social international social care is in social side, those families under vulnerability with low resources have a great difficulty to exercise their care. And also due to gender situations in work and the segmentation in the labor market, women and most of all who suffer to a work that's not well waged and that their work. This has worsened due to pandemics, COVID-19. This pandemic got a profound crisis, making the need to work to a distribution with equality and investing in policies that will promote health and well-being of population. I'm referring to policies that can allow resources of good quality services and policies that will allow us to have time to take care from the co-responsibility, conciliation, maternities, paternities, time, lead time of the during pandemics, the measures that were adopted for Latin American and the Caribbean to reduce the load in work are not so good. Due to a study that was done to the ILO, International Labour Organization, only 1.6% of them were sensitive and only 4% of these adopted measures related to maternity and paternity parenthood in general. Now I'm going to change to English. Es el de mejorar
the Americas and to recover from the pandemic with a society that is stronger and more just than before. As part of this goal, it is essential to address care as a human right and a social responsibility. I created the new Department of Social and Environmental Determinants for Health Equity at the beginning of my tenure to respond to this need to reinforce a comprehensive approach to health and well-being and ensure care is addressed from an equity, gender, intercultural, and health promotion perspective. The role of both national and local governments and their commitments to greater investments in health public policies is critical. This requires the joint efforts of all government sectors, understanding the need to ensure necessary services and resources, empowering individuals, promoting better working and work-life balance conditions, improving gender equality, and consequently reducing inequalities. In the Americas, there are exemplary actions by national and local governments and by cities such as Bogota. During this Wellness Week, PAHO calls on a wide variety of actors ranging from governments and policymakers at all levels to community and civil society to take an active role in improving our care systems so that the responsibility of care is redistributed equitably. This effort will be an important step towards building a society that promotes equity, health, and well-being. My message today is that we must talk more about care. The care we want, the care we need, because comprehensive care is key to building stronger and healthier communities. And today is also an important opportunity to congratulate, recognize, and thank all the people who care, who take care of us, and whom we care for. I am honored to inaugurate this Wellness Week 2023, launched from Bogotá, Colombia, and I reaffirm my commitment and that of PAHO to work for the health and well-being of all the Americas. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Muy bien, muchas gracias al señor Jarbas Barbosa, director de la
Thank you,
organización.
Mr. Barbosa, Director PAHO, for your intervention. And now, we want to give the floor to Mr. Alejandro Gómez Lopez, the Health Secretary from Bogotá.
Muy buenos días.
Good morning.
Bienvenidas y bienvenidos
Welcome
todos a
all
esta,
to
que es la
this,
casa de
your
todos
house.
ustedes, de
This
todos
is your house.
ustedes. A nombre de la Alcaldía Mayor
On
de
behalf
Bogotá,
of the mayors
de
of
todo el equipo de
Bogotá,
trabajo,
of all the
de la
working
Alcaldesa Mayor, la doctora Claudia López,
your
le damos
Mayor
la más
Claudia
cordial
Lopez, we
bienvenida a esta
welcome you
semana
all
y a
to
este
this
evento.
week and this event.
El lema de esta semana,
Well,
los cuidados
our
que necesitamos, los cuidados que queremos,
we need the care
nos
we
invita a
want.
reflexionar
In
sobre
fact,
un concepto
try just
fundamental,
to think about a
el modelo de la
concept,
salud
a
y el
fundamental
bienestar de nuestras
taking
poblaciones
care
en
of
un
our
mundo que enfrenta
population and
desafíos de salud
people that
sin
are facing
precedentes.
challenges every
Recordemos
day.
que cuidar
Remember
y ser
that
cuidados es
taking care and
esencial
being
para
care
construir un
is
futuro más
essential to
saludable y
build a
equitativo.
more healthy future,
Mi
a more
experiencia como líder en la implementación de políticas de salud en Bogotá
implementing
me ha enseñado que el
health
cuidado no
policies
solo se trata
has
del acceso
helped me
a los
to
servicios médicos,
have
sino
access
también
to
de crear un
care, but
entorno
also
propicio para una
create
vida saludable.
and setting a good environment to a
Implica
quality life.
repensar
I
nuestras ciudades,
rethink our mindset
ya
about
que
cities,
como las
just
planificamos
because
y
that how we
gestionamos, tiene
fund
un
them
impacto
and
directo
health
en la salud
management, they have a
y en el
direct
bienestar de sus habitantes,
effect
desde la
on
calidad
the
del
citizens,
aire y
from
el
the
diseño
quality of
urbano
air
hasta la
and the urban
promoción
design
de
to
estilos
the
de vida
promotion of
activos y atención
active
integral.
health
Por
and
eso,
integral care.
estamos hablando de
I,
salud
when
urbana
we are talking
en
of
este tan
urban
importante
care,
evento
which
que
is so
estamos instalando.
critical, the event that we are launching
En este
today.
sentido, Bogotá,
In
una
this
ciudad
way,
dinámica y
Bogotá,
diversa,
a
se ha
dynamic
convertido en un faro de
diversity, has
innovación en el
become
cuidado de
an
la salud y el
important
bienestar en un contexto urbano.
in an urban context.
Hemos
Here,
presenciado avances
we have seen
emocionantes en
emotion,
áreas como la movilidad
emotional
sostenible,
advances such as
la
sustainable,
promoción
the
de la movilidad
promotion
en
of
bicicleta, de la que
mobility,
nos
biking,
sentimos muy orgullosos,
which we are
la
really
reducción
proud
de la
of.
huella de
The
carbono y el
reduction of
urbanismo
the
con la
carbon
expansión de
footprint
espacios
and the
verdes.
expansion of
Además,
green.
estamos abordando el cambio
Also,
climático
we
como un
are
desafío global
approaching the
mediante
climate
prácticas
change
más responsables
with
y respetuosas con el
responsible
medio ambiente.
measures with environment.
Bogotá, como muchas otras
Bogotá
ciudades,
has
está trabajando en estrategias de resiliencia por la
resilience,
mejora de la calidad del aire y la promoción de la agricultura
air
urbana en
quality
línea con la
and
visión
agriculture
de un futuro más
urban
saludable
with a
y sostenible.
healthier vision and more
Uno de
sustainable.
los logros más
One of the
significativos que
most
hemos
important
alcanzado en
achievements
Bogotá
that we've been
es la
able to do
reconciliación de la ciudadanía
creation
con los
of
servicios de
citizenship
salud.
with the health
No sé si
service.
sea un
I
reto que se
don't know
tenga
if
en
this is a
otras
challenge
latitudes,
that you have in
pero
other
existe
places,
cierto
but
nivel de
here we have
atención de la
attention
ciudadanía
level
para
on
con la
many
calidad de los
citizens
servicios de
with
salud en lo que
the
estamos trabajando
service
muy duro en esta
quality.
administración.
We are really working hard in
Hemos
this
trabajado incansablemente para empoderar a las personas y comunidades
aggressively with their
involucrándolas en
communities,
las
involving
decisiones
them
sobre su
in those
propia salud y
about their own
alentándolas a
health
adoptar hábitos
and
saludables.
guiding them to
Sabemos que cuando las
adopt
personas son
care
protagonistas de su
initiatives.
cuidado,
We know that
se
then when
produce un
they are
cambio real y
important
duradero.
stakeholders, we are producing an
Pero
important
nuestro
care.
compromiso no se limita a las políticas de salud locales. Hoy nos unimos con mucho
We
gusto
get together
al
today
movimiento de municipios,
to the
ciudades y
movement
comunidades
of
saludables de las Américas,
municipalities
una
with health
plataforma que reconoce la importancia
a platform that develops the collaboration and synergies of health. And this strategic partnership allows us a unique opportunity to build bridges in a common vision to improve health and well-being of all of our cities. In Bogota, as well as other cities around the world, which I understand are all gathered here today, we are looking new possibilities to approach the creation of green spaces and areas for physical activity to promotion of mental health, big challenge that we had from post-pandemic after COVID-19. And the rest of the needs for care, we are shaping the future a better and healthier. Finally, I want to highlight the importance and importance of the PAHO and WHO, which we had a lot of work together with art together to build a better world where health is the right for citizens, for gender, or where they come from, together sharing our experiences and learning from each other to have more prosperity. This Wellness Week, we want to contribute so you can learn from the different municipalities new ways of taking care of health and care and to get together with us in this common idea that in Bogota it has an expression in the local municipalities. I think the different majors that are here today with us in this event. The well-being of our communities depends on, and together we can offer a great future together. Let's continue working together. Thank you, and let's have a good well-being week full of learning, collaboration, and action. Welcome you all. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, Health Secretary Alejandro Gomez for your intervention. And now we want to give the floor to Joy Joan. She's the Executive Director of CARPA.
Good afternoon. What a great privilege for me to visit Colombia for the first time. And at the same time, it is such an honor to represent the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, at the launch of Wellness Week of the Americas right here in Bogota. In 2007, the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM issued the Port of Spain Declaration, uniting to stop the epidemic of chronic non-communicable diseases, and declared the second Saturday in September Caribbean Wellness Day. Caribbean Wellness Day is the mandate from the Port of Spain NCD Summit Declaration that represents the public call to action of the declaration. So I am fresh from the CARICOM celebration of Caribbean Wellness Day. CARPHA and PAHO joined in America's regional solidarity with the first overall theme, Love That Body, which was retired in 2020. The new overall theme, Power Through Collective Action, was introduced and reflects the continuation of the life course approach for the following 5 years, 2020 to 2024, and includes whole of society engagement. This year, we will celebrate for a whole month, encompassing Caribbean Wellness Day, Wellness Week of the Americas, and beyond, with a focus on care, with the theme, the care we need, the care we want. Implicitly, this requires that we must first have a community willingness to provide that care. Health promotion has a significant role to sow the seed and spread the word and the feeling of caring for your fellow human beings. Caribbean Wellness Day is geared towards increasing awareness and promoting measures among communities to address the epidemic of non-communicable diseases, NCDs. It presents an opportunity to make a collective call to action for change at the various levels of society. CARFA develops campaign material, including templates, which are shared with the Regional Health Communication Network in all of our 26 member states. Through this network, the seed is sown and the word is spread at national and community level with activities to promote healthy living and encourage residents to develop good health practices. Recently, CARFA seized the opportunity to participate in an exciting training and development exercise through the conduct of an Audiopedia training. This concept is a very good example of utilizing a platform for disseminating health messages, despite the absence of reliable wide coverage of internet access. I also recorded a Caribbean Wellness Day message on Audiopedia. Overall, CARFA always aims for inclusivity in the Caribbean Wellness Day celebration. This year, with a whole month to celebrate, we will highlight the role of women in caring for themselves and their families and their communities. This Audiopedia project was the platform that ensured that there was a meaningful representation of women, aiming for 40% female participants. The target was exceeded, with 81% of the participants being women. This aligns perfectly with the empowerment of women with knowledge to make informed life decisions. I was especially pleased because Audiopedia allowed us to include Indigenous populations of the Caribbean. Part of self-care is to get moving, and in the Caribbean community, we have the Caribbean Moves initiative to institutionalize the healthy lifestyle movement, which all started with Jamaica Moves and has spread to Barbados Moves, Trinidad and Tobago Moves, among others. We also have CARFA Moves, which focuses on physical and mental well-being of our staff through a workplace wellness initiative. And we had a walk around the famous Savannah in Port of Spain, 3.4 kilometers, I think, to celebrate Caribbean Wellness Day. When I arrived yesterday, as I drove through the streets of Bogota, on my way from the airport yesterday, I was struck by two things. First, how many green spaces have been incorporated into the urban planning. So I wrote this speech before you said anything. Incorporated into the urban planning. And second, how many families and young and older adults with their dogs were walking, riding bicycles, and running in those green spaces. I am encouraged when I see the youth engaged in wellness activities. I have noticed a strong youth movement here in Colombia. Well done to the youth, and keep being encouraged. In CARICOM, there are many examples of stakeholders that work hard at ensuring that NCDs are kept at bay. Barbados's NCD Commission is but one example. It's one of the oldest in the region, and it has provided mentorship for other NCD commissions in the region, Guyana, St. Lucia, and Grenada, for example. I think also of the Healthy Caribbean Coalition, which has worked tirelessly throughout the Caribbean and has waged campaigns towards healthy foods in schools, front of package warning labels, not only on cigarettes, but on food, among others. Finally, caring for each other ensures that individuals must be empowered to take control of their health. The CARFA Diabetes Management Guidelines are based on the chronic care model, which promotes the shared role of healthcare providers and recipients in decision-making. The combination of trained healthcare providers interacting with empowered clients underlines the concept of the care we want, the care we need. Noting that women are especially at risk for developing NCDs, a paper authored by Sobers Granum et al. Highlights that being a female was a social determinant for diabetes mellitus in the Caribbean. CARFA is addressing this through training 2 cohorts of healthcare practitioners in the region as trainers of the diabetes mellitus guidelines. Our first cohort for the online course was achieved this year. In closing, I wish everyone a happy Wellness Week and encourage you to be inclusive, keeping in mind the care we need, the care we want.
Muy bien, muchas gracias a Joyce and John por su intervención y le damos también en este momento el paso a Gina
Thank you very much.
Tambini,
Now we yield the floor to Gina
de la
Tambini,
Organización
representative
Panamericana
of
de la
AHO
Salud.
in Colombia.
Buenos días a cada uno y cada una de ustedes acá en el auditorio Buitaca, en la Alcaldía Mayor de Bogotá. Y pues saludo también muy especial a cada una de las personas que están conectadas. Muchas gracias, señor director de la Organización Panamericana de la Salud, por hacer ese esfuerzo de estar conectado a esta sesión tan importante. Saludo especial al secretario de Salud, al doctor Alejandro Gómez López, y a través de usted a la señora alcaldesa de Bogotá, que como bien hemos
Bogotá's mayor, as we have heard, the secretary leads this process of having a city with that urbanism to oversee health and the well-being of each one of its dwellers in the territory. So especially to my colleague, Dr. Jones Young, the executive director of CARFA, with whom we have had opportunity of being together in certain periods on the struggle to prevent non-transmissible diseases. Talking about that big challenge, not only the epidemics, but because of communicable diseases, but also chronic diseases, and it's the Caribbean countries who have always shown us many experiences eliminating smallpox, and that we were able to eliminate now for it to become the week of well-being. Also, special greetings to each one of the mayors, Carmen Alicia Parra Rodriguez from San Nicolas, from Honduras, the mayor, Sara Maria Rueda from Bolivia, also Gima Carolina Agudelo Hernandez from Kennedy here in the metropolitan area in Bogota, also Dr. Agudelo Mayor, also with Dr. Jerry Xmas, Director of the Department of Social Determinants and Environmental Determinants for Equity in Health. Clearly, Dr. Jack he began his tenure in February with the importance of the approach towards social determinants for health, also climate change, also the environmental determinants. And we have a department from that with colleagues who are here. I also want to say hello to Secretary Gonzalez Pilar Campos, the head of the unit, and each one of you, the colleagues from the organization who have been working with the mayor from Kennedy and also the mayor's office, not only for this event, but from other initiatives. As I was saying, there's no better place to kick this well-being week in the region, together with the colleague Dr. Jones and Jones, who, as I was telling you, from the Caribbean have shown the importance of overseeing the well-being of people, and also with that, with the chronic diseases. Dr. Jarvas was telling us that each one of us needs the health, the care. And I'm sure that each one has in mind that person that we care for, not only from our families, but also our institution where we collaborate, and also from our communities. And it is true, we need each one of us from that care, and the spaces and environments, challenges from family violence, and how that support circle could oversee those people. Challenges also in our institutions, with all the challenges that are brought by work stress or the intensity of being able to comply, how to be attentive, how those limits are being overcome, and how to have alerts. And moreover, in a world that we just leave the pandemic, that also leave us events, and now in Morocco, the earthquake and other places that are suffering because of climate change. And that's why that care has to be with the knowledge of those risks and how we could do in terms of an incident or an event that affects life and well-being of people. And that's why we are in the Wellness Week since 2011. Each year, this month in September, the PAHO, you know that PAHO, the countries are PAHO. All of you who are connected and are listening to us, the countries are the member states of the organization. So each year we celebrate the Well-Being Week with the purpose of emphasizing the importance, the promotion of health for the well-being of people and the communities. We have promoted processes that allowed us to better understand how the inequality in terms of access to health services, access to conditions and life affects the different ways different population groups. This with the purpose of making better decisions and adjust public policy to allow us to make progress towards equality. Colombia has the Inequality Observatory, and with the National Equity Atlas on Sustainable Health. In this atlas, there is a series of health indicators with the course of life along the gradient, social gradient, defined by the development level of each municipality, regionally as well as nationally. On the other hand, the PAHO is working hand in hand with the intersectoral committee, a district intersectoral committee from the district health secretary, to strengthen processes of indicators towards equality and social determinants of health to optimize the responsible sectors in this process. We have identified that one of the institutional offers that is most important to affect the social determinants is the district health care, and its effort to provide care, the necessary care, to people who dedicate their life to care for others. We see it in the different communication media and television and the AAA spaces, the lives of different people, and with the motto, in Bogota, we have a lot to tell about. So this is, the message is coming to each one of us when we see and we listen to the young person, the lady, the child who expressed from their lives what it's been done in this beautiful city. Another matter is gender equality. Related to gender equality, we understand that most of the times care falls on women. Yeah, it's been expressed but they should be cared. It is beautiful to see also the institution that allows not only men and women to be with children, and when we can provide work and when we educate and facilitate especially in mothers' latency. Care has to be, it is different. The National Statistics Department shows through the national survey that Colombian women dedicated with between September and 2001 on a daily basis 7 hours 46 minutes to care activities that are not remunerated, while men invest 3 hours and 6 minutes. It has implications on women. This is repeated in other countries in the region and the world. The investment of time for the care at home and the family means, in other aspects, the lack of time for the self-care in terms of feeding, control, and medical care. And for the PAHO, it is very important to strengthen the transversalization of gender focus to promote work environments free of stereotypes and discrimination, with programs that promote a culture of equality. The third point, the public policies that was mentioned by the Secretary. In terms of public policies, we celebrate that this is part of the district policy for the city to have made progress on sustainable and equitable systems. The responsibility of governments on the creation of this is evident. I would say, is imminent. However, local governments, because of the closeness with the population, here are represented by the three majors of it. We are the actors, the key actors for the elaboration and the implementation of public policy that approach comprehensively the care for the populations that live on vulnerability. Likewise, we rescue the importance of promoting the active and empowered participation of the community, of all the institutional sectors. It is important to strengthen the governance processes and in the city with a focus on care that allows to potentiate the reduction of inequalities in health. We cannot talk about the care without being within a social, political, and economic context, which means without considering the determinants of health. Of the approach of those determinants is a task that pertains all the sectors and all of us. It is important to consider that each culture has different ways to understand and practice, not only towards the others, but also the different ways. Remembering here the German philosopher, Martin Heidegger, the being and the time, he was explaining that the care is the ground on which all the interpretation of the human being moves. He was showing that the origin of the word care came from Latin care, which is defined in a context of love and friendship when there is a worry or for the others. And this is a similar root on cure or I cannot heal another person or care for another person if I don't worry for that other being. This great philosopher was telling us, and there is a greater well-being, that feeling well to build a society around the well-being which is put together, and it is what we have to celebrate this week. The week on well-being, with that kicking off on this launching with that looks for the well-being of the dwellers here in Bogota. Count on PAHO and the WHO. We are your technical secretariat, and you make up PAHO WHO. Thank you, Gina Tambini, representative of PAHO in Colombia, and to all the guests, special guests. Thank you very much for this beginning of this such a special day. And now we are going to continue with the panel. which is a very important panel with experiences for the implementation of care policies. I invite you to be able to see this panel.
Panel moderado por la destacada doctora Jerry Eigermans, directora del Departamento de Determinantes Sociales y Ambientales para la Equidad en Salud.
About social determinants for equality in health from PAHO. So we are going to invite the Carmen Alicia Parra Rodriguez from the municipality of San Nicolas, Honduras. Welcome. We say hello to Sara Abella Rueda from Bolivia for us. Likewise, Janie Carolina Dolina Hernandez from Kennedy here in Colombia. Welcome to all of you for participating in this panel today, because 2023 here in Bogotá. Again, hello to all of you who are with us virtually.
Muy bien, le doy la palabra entonces a la doctora Eigermans, quien, como se...
Dr. Eigermans, as I was saying, she will moderate this important panel.
Bueno, buenos días. Qué gusto estar con ustedes aquí.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you here in Bogotá. We are not only in Bogotá, we are in all the cities, municipalities of the region in the Americas. So this is what we are doing here. You are seeing it live through different channels in English, Spanish, Portuguese. So it goes beyond what we see here. We are also being seen here. So again, it's a huge pleasure to be here with you, as you have heard, on the importance of well-being this week. We see that this is a movement that grows. We have heard about Dr. Jones, that we have made the alliance with TARFA, with the countries in the Caribbean, to work jointly, and with the Latin American Public Health Association. And little by little, we put the topics of well-being on the board, in the agenda of all of us. And this week allows us a reflection. What are the topics this week that we really want to see, to discuss, to understand, that we see it, people? And this year, in coordination with all the partners, we have thought the care issues, the care that we need, that we want, have to be the matter of importance. And also, in Bogotá, we are here in Bogotá because this is a city, and we have heard, and we are going to listen about it, that has made a lot of progress in care. So we are very happy. As a matter of fact, this is the first time that we kick the well-being week off outside of Washington. It has always been done at home, in the America's home, in Washington's office, but we are very happy that we can do it in a different manner. Now here, those of you who are the stars are our three mayors. We have Carmen Alicia Paso Rodriguez from the municipality of San Nicolas, Honduras. We have Sara Armella Rueda from El Puente, Bolivia. And also we have Mayor Jamie Carolina Agudelo Fernandez from Kennedy locality in Colombia. I would also like to greet Mayor Sara has not come by herself. She has come with her husband and her child, and she has been taking, he's caring for the child. We couldn't have a better image of having the father here working with the mother so she can, and really, I congratulate you because of this. As it's been said before, the care is the essential responsibility of the healthcare sector, but it goes beyond the responsibility of all the government, since the policies related to economics, social protection, education, employment, gender, among others, all are fundamental when we talk about care. Caring for that, it requires resources, it requires quality, not only health services, but beyond accessible and equitable, but also it requires time. That's why we need policies that provide us time, equilibrium between work and personal life, maternity permits, time for lactancy, license for disease, etc. It is very necessary to have a change in the distribution of care where equality and gender are at the center to be able to achieve greater health and well-being of all society, a society of well-being. The local governments are key, given the closeness to the population, the knowledge, and the different realities. We knew that from a long time ago, but pandemic has made it visible more still. So really, we are very happy to have here the three mayors here with their experiences that have with us, with different experiences, different contexts. And I would like to begin with a first round on their experiences. So please share briefly some experience in your municipality that you have had to approach care with this comprehensive perspective that goes beyond health sector, that also involves population. Would you please, could I begin with the Mayor Carmen? So we expect her to begin from Honduras. Please go ahead. Good morning. Thank you very much. It's also a pleasure to be able to come here and share some of the experiences and the life experiences that we have from the local governments. There are many things, but I would also like to emphasize related to what has been proposed, and everybody coincides on the closeness of a local government to its population, and the importance for the governments to work with all the key stakeholders and the population. In my particular case, we have had the experience of about 3 years ago of being part of the multi-sectoral work table in which all the key stakeholders are present, not only to approach topics in terms of health only, but also the approach of all the different issues that we live on a daily basis in the local governments. So there is ownership is taken from the community structure that are going to ensure that those processes remain permanently in the societies for us to be able to do an approach on what is happening at that moment and to make it in a collective manner with the institutionality, with the based organizations, with the non-NGOs, with the representatives of the state secretaries, with the local governments. It is easier to be able to bring those tasks, although we are from rural contexts. In the case of the western part of Honduras, we work with the base communities, with the organizational, and how we bring this to solve jointly, solving the problems. So in that sense, everybody has an approach according to the area in which they are working, and that will allow us to make collective decisions, to make decisions that go towards being right, to be accepted and well seen by the population, and also to let us see that the mayors are instruments that are there, but if we do it with the collective, with the key stakeholders present in our territories, it is much better. We can also talk about, in terms of health, we have built a municipal health network with volunteers and men and women that dedicate to work, that work on working on the land, working ad honorem, with looking in a voluntary manner for the well-being of the community in terms of health. That replica that we began implementing in 2015 is the one that we have been bringing forth to be able to make up a stakeholders table that allows any issue to be approached and to allow to have strategies from the local level. Thank you very much. Very important what you mentioned on the work that we are doing at a local level to approach this. Now, Sarah, could I call you Major Sarah? Also an experience that you have. Would you please? Well, thank you very much, and special greetings from Bolivia, the El Puente, my municipality. I thank Cobalt2 for working jointly with the PAHO and WHO. And for me, this is the first time to be able to visit here, Colombia and Bogota especially. And I want to thank all who are present here. Our municipality is a rural one, 11,300 inhabitants. We do not have our own economic resources, but we do depend on the participation on hydrocarbons, especially, and the policies that could be implemented, and our experience on our first process that I've been working for 2 years and municipality major, and we have the first challenge after the pandemic, which we have lived. We have not been yet on public management, but we have seen that the problem, the health problem, is a problem of all of us, and the responsibility of authorities and also society, civil society. And it was the purpose that we have lived the experience of pandemics, that there is no medications, and nobody could go out. But the worry was our families and the communities who were producing, that they didn't have the care of COVID because they had to produce and they had to bring food to the marketplace. And the other families who lived in the capital cities, all of them left out. So locked down. So our first management mandate was to be able to confirm our first health summit, inviting all the political actors and all the sectors who got involved, and not only having to do with health, but also education and productive matters, because we consider that talking about health, we have to talk about a better production to be able to feed ourselves, because we could build hospitals, we could have many medications, but patients could come to their line. But if we work on preventing, especially production, this was our goal. That's why in this summit, we have made the decision of being able to define budgets directly, how much goes to health, education, to be able to work on that. So from the municipality, we didn't find a municipality or municipal pharmacy. We decided to implement this. I have 11 health centers within my municipality, and out of them, also the distribution in an equitable manner to all the health centers, in the logistics, in the equipment, and also on healthcare. So this is our first experience on implementation of the policy, how to improve health. And we have seen that several issues came out of it, and out of them we implemented. Now, currently implementing, especially all the work that we carried out. Thank you very much for this experience, such an important experience, showing that health goes beyond of what we can do from the health sectors. Thank you very much. Carolina.
Por supuesto, a nuestra representante del Caribe, teniendo en cuenta la salud, a mis colegas todos, un saludo muy especial que no estoy sino representando.
Warm greeting. I have a video to show you that from our district, from our municipality, and then to show our businesses from health that allow us to transform the idea of health as a caring, or working over changing the paradigm, which I think will be very important ideological this week. Just rule from Washington, but bringing it here to our territory, to Colombia. So I want to show you the video.
Lindo el video, ¿cierto? No, mentira. Sobre todo, quiero mostrar que es dramático porque todos
vivimos. Show you that it's dramatic. What we all live, it's a global concern about health. It made us think not only about the care and exercises from the nature and the natural things about care, but also about a territorial perspective, how don't having health access in hospitals or institutions, but changing that model to health assistance inside the neighborhood, at homes, at households, and it's important to highlight Salud a mi barrio, health for my neighborhood. This is a public policy that transforms not only access, but also it makes it in each territory. But I wanted to show you this video because we all start from here. This exercise about what happened in pandemic, but also after pandemics. Kennedy started an important exercise after this important visit to house and found out an important amount of number of capacities, more than 20,000 people that they don't only have exercise difficulties, disabilities, mental health issues, but not only about this. It was about the caregiver around these 25,000 people. You may say that in this same logic, that if it's okay, that women are the ones that more exercise caregiving, it was important to double fold it, but it was not only this exercise, this was affecting people in places such in the 3 or 4 that were making part of this. And not only this, but also the SCT exercise and society in the permanent working environment. And narrating this to you, we need to start from the change of paradigm. The change of paradigm that does not attend a disease. It's not only disease, it's not only the person, but it's the caregiver that most of the times is a woman and recognizes the burden, but it's not only this, it's not only women and women, but families, siblings. The care is not only falling on women, but also falling around the family and moving from this paradigm to the next paradigm that it's not only to do the family exercise, but only institutional offer to recognize people with any disability from an approach that is absolutely from the community aspect and approach, and to recognize this process. And this is why I want to express my greetings from the PAHO, from determinants, social determinants in health, determinants of health. Because it's not only to talk about health from an isolated, but a core, a central part, but as an exercise we have all our society. Kennedy started 2 years. It has the $1 million working on propositions that will change this perspective, not only from individual exercises, moving from helping technical help supports individually, but to move with caregivers, move exercise with families, and finally generating a public offer that we have today and known as the Interactive Center for Wellbeing. This is a space that looks to create spaces for disability people and also to join. Jerry was talking, and this is why we thank so much it's been held here in Bogota. We relate ourselves with the exercise of care, giving in the sense of caring for those who care about us, particularly for people that have any kind of disability. I want to have that space that I have today because Kennedy has worked with PAHO together to characterize, identifying, but most of all, accompanying the change of paradigm and how it's not enough to make prevention activities. It's not enough to make activities of coordination, but also it requires of permanent activities of work that will change the health approach to a community approach and participant health approach. The most important contributions given to disability people and caregivers to be them to say what are those activities they were expecting and not the ones that we were providing, change that wheelchair that we believe they needed with a reduced mobility to share with them that they had and needed a technological support to make themselves actively uh, reducing the reason of the care, which is a burden, a huge burden for women in general and to their families as well. I wanted to share with you this experience because for Kennedy, it has been transforming and highlighting the work of our major, Claudia Lopez. She came in pandemic, but she has led not only the economy's care, taking care of who care for us, but also when you take care, you are learning. And this also transforms particularly the families, dynamics of each one of us that can change our paradigms and also recognizing that participation is not only 4 or 5 people that raise their hands and share their stories, but sitting together in a programmatic work that allows us to recognize the needs and to show them in real activities that at the end can be conclusive. We are really proud of our work, of our task, that there are help and support for people with disabilities as a collective way, and that seeks to generate autonomies, to generate job actions for people with disabilities and reduce the burdens for the caregivers and the families. We believe that this is the best exit, and we are facing challenges. Hiring a person with a disability implies an enormous logistic that sometimes it's impossible. Modifying physical structures, buildings, technologies, and from here, that this interactive center for well-being will be the one that people come and have the technology to have the most benefit from COVID, the virtual work, remote work, asynchronic work. And I think apart from doing the care exercises to that specific condition, but I want to thank you. And this is was the experience we want to share with you with this investment of more than $1 million US. I know that we are still working. Thank you for sharing your experience. That's so interesting and letting us know around Colombia and around the region. Major Carmen, you were sharing with us about the situation in your district, in your municipality, for work burden. Many times they leave, the people leave. Grandmothers are in charge of the care. Can you share a little bit more and what can we do in those situations that are real life situations? Well, Honduras and many countries in Latin America, we receive massive migration. In our case, it has been uh, founding each more, and we find families that decide to go. The husband and the family, but it's we have found ourselves with. Escuché que se hubiera ido el internet, pero bien, bien. Pues, the parenting of those grandchildren, if it's true that government, the local national governments are seeing this as an income very important in an economic way for this country's development, it is true that we have more important things that is not count in currency within this currency exchange that is in living with the deepening situation where sometimes it's considered vulnerable as children, but in a situation such as risk, when the grandparents, and we are also living husbands that leave and wives never knew about them anymore. They were not responsible anymore for those households and families. These social repercussions that we are having, we have lived them in these last years. And it's not easy to come to this educational institution, so the teacher will relate, have a close relationship with households, visiting them on a daily basis. So those children will stop attending school due to these situations, but also these grandparents in all the villages around our municipality are facing lives alone by themselves. Socially, this is a serious problem that we have. And okay, we've made the call to some NGOs to have some inclusion programs with children in such an artistic, cultural spaces that they can feel they are taken into account, but also their life will be having a true meaning, because we can imagine a child that's alone due to migration or that are kept in charge of their grandparents. We consider that we don't have the true response with opportunities to deliver to those grandparents in each household, in each municipality. We have a small municipality. We have 19 villages by 15,000 people, but from 2018, we have felt we have lots of constructions, American style constructions, and this is quoting a better life. But what happens with what we have shared? And in this sense, all these problems, we are approaching them. How can we help? What can we do? How can we generate this support with bonus to older people, food bonus, economic bonus, health program that will go, that health provider team to households in each municipality access that right for health, which is a human right, even for the more isolated population, as we know in our territory. So these are some of the daily problems we face in our municipalities. We are a small municipality. We are aware of who left. We are aware of what another are in charge of their grandchildren. A little bit more getting close to our urban places. The topic about drugs, which is a strong concern, and 10 years ago this was not a concern for us. Today is really concerning us. So we need to generate on a government level public policies to align with the local governments. Therefore, this will be getting complex to swim against the current if we are not aligned. The things that we have talked here, the high pregnancy levels and rates that have been increasing every day. Who is taking care of these pregnant women? Most importantly, this falls on women who are in charge of each home. So we have more than 4,000 single moms so in a population of 4,000 citizens. So this is a huge concern we have. Thank you for sharing your concerns, your realities. We need strong measures. So talking about this, uh, the topic about caring, about gender, and we've been talking that in Bolivia, less than 10%, less than 4% of majors are women. So I think this is something important. What would you say? What's special about your management as major, your feminine leadership, your being women? Well, in Bolivia, yes, we have. Through our constitution, we are recognized as women participating 50%. It's law, yes, it says it, but in fact, it's not true. We have 336 districts in Bolivia, municipalities. From these, 22 are women majors. From these 22 women, in the meeting that we had on a national level meeting, it's really difficult. The topic about work, management, the political abuses that women suffer. But we consider that the work of women is a big one. Responsibility is huge because we are not only majors or authorities in the different municipalities, we are also moms, we are wives, we are sisters, we are daughters, of course. And here we have this important role. This is a complement, an additional what we need to do and we have to do. We have to start from our families to begin with society. Sometimes we, as speakers, we may be explaining a topic that's so important, so sensitive, but many times in our municipalities it's too difficult to understand to be understood as society. Therefore, we've been working from the social organizations with the role of becoming a manager, to becoming an authority, and start to look for more spaces on taking decisions. Because in my department, we have 11 majors, 11 municipalities. From these 11 municipalities, I'm the only one from my department. And sometimes it's complicated because I share with my colleagues, my major colleagues, and I tell them many times, you don't worry, you are not worrying about your activities, but for me, it's not so simple, it's not so easy. I have the responsibility for the institution, for the society. We need to respond for our family, our children, and our moderator. Well, I have my husband here with me and my baby, 2 months old. And here we share together with work the understanding. I think it's really important, and we are working together with our women, our colleagues, which we say and we tell them not only to make the role of woman, but also as a partner within the wife and husband. We need each other. Before, it was only taken into account, not even in Bolivia, but the rest of the countries. It was really marked that that man can only do this and women the other thing. And now today we consider that we need to change that role to complement ourselves. But we can be authority, we can do labors at home and in the society jointly. So we are working together with the women organizations, but not on training on feminism, but to tell you as women need to put there, you need to put men there. No, on the contrary, we need to work together because I am the chair of councils and majors, women of my department. And before, it was only a training, only women and majors. Now, in this case, we stated that if we are talking about a law and to regulate, to socialize to the territories, municipalities to train, well, it's going to be difficult to make them and to approve all of these acts because men are going to be there, the closed proposition, and women, of course, the other proposition in order to move forward. And this is not going to be possible. So I decided to make a call, not only to men, but to women. And many times we need to sit together. And many times they are the ones that talk more for rights for women. So we do it in a shared position and we share with women and we say that, okay, chair, I don't know if it was good to invite them to our meetings because they are the ones that talk more about violence. But yes, I tell them that yes, it is important because as well, man and woman, we will make it possible to sort problems in front of all of the societies together. Thank you for your awareness of what you are sharing with us. I have a question for the three of you. As leaders, as women, what do you recommend for the future generation of women as leaders, and most of all in this context about caring, need, and they don't help much to have that political space that they need. And well, I'm going to start here with our major from Kennedy. Well, it's important. I've been working in an exercise that the people that are less aware of violence they live are women, by the way. And this exercise about the gender role to be assigned, many times it's so normalized in our societies that changing implies an educational exercise. It's going to be a permanent exercise to be questioned permanently. Also, a recommendation to change the educational dynamics that will allow to understand women in their changing roles. And this, what you were saying, this obligation to be a major woman, to be a mom, to be a worker, to be a super mom, to do it all. Make this is part of our role of exercise. And I think that women are obtaining more space in entities and institutions. And even though the burden spaces are still majoritarily placed on women, despite the fact that they can come with different changes within the process. I think this is part of the change of the paradigm within the family care, social care, and the recommendation would be a systematic change in education of the gender structures that have been provided for us. And this is a work of the social administrations and local administrations. Kennedy is doing this all the time. I started a crusade in all the public institutions and in schools, more than 250 public schools where we are offering, but also we are talking with women, with girls that will be the future architects, politicians, that their right and the struggle for their right depends on them to know opportunities and also to generate, and this for local administrations, to generate a new way of generating equality. And of course, there are policies that are most of all for women, so they can recover and get back the right to individual to generate knowledge. And this has been great. And we will be working hard on this recommendation. We can, we always can. And we need to change and criticize and judge. And sorry to talk on permanent reasoning about the roles that we have been imposed. Thank you so much, teacher from Honduras. What is your message? It's interesting, and I want to share with you that this Gender Commission, I've been the chair from the Gender Commission in Honduras, and we've been working strongly with the cooperation in terms of in making possible those educational spaces to major women, indigenous, Afro-descendant women that desire and they want to participate in politics. And how we have been able to take them, we've been able to do this for the third meeting, and we can make it possible that with our work from as a major, we can encourage other women that want to start from the outside. It's difficult. Being inside is easier. So it is important to raise this number that our colleague from Kennedy, from Bolivia, what happened? 298 municipalities, 16 majors, 5%, and this is happening as a general norm. So we are interested that more women can be trained to raise their awareness, not only for the politicians, not only to organize the table where that meeting is going to be held, or the launching event of the campaign, but also being that
Desde la Comisión de Género de AMON hemos estado llegando a sensibilizar. Normalmente hemos estado por años atrás haciendo la práctica de sensibilizar mujeres. Está bien, hay que hacerlo, formarnos es necesario, pero también la experiencia que ya contaba la alcaldesa de Kennedy es no solo somos las mujeres, también deben estar los hombres y hablar de temas de género, de inclusividad, no solo es asunto de mujeres. Para nosotros es muy importante, desde nuestros espacios en los gobiernos locales, es generarle más espacios a las mujeres, generar espacios políticos, generarle espacios de empoderamiento económico. Las redes de mujeres son muy importantes, hay una estrategia política que podemos nosotros también ir delineando para poder garantizar esa participación. En nuestro caso llegamos y no aceptamos organizaciones comunitarias donde 8 de los 8 cargos estén en manos solo de hombres o solo de mujeres. Vamos con un porcentaje en temas de paridad y alternancia hasta las organizaciones comunitarias. Para que la participación de la mujer realmente sea efectiva. Yo le diría como mensaje final es que es muy importante.
I would say as a final message that women strategically will be reinvented constantly. That we are in a constant evolution. We have more than, starting my third period as major of women that were in the political processes, so it's necessary to reinvent themselves, but also the fact of opening spaces for women that will shine. This will not close our spaces of not growing of what we are. Thank you so much for the message. So yes, your last message from Bolivia. And women, okay, I encourage them to dream. ¿Ya se escucha? Dream, make the dreams come true. This is a compliment, and we need to work with women so that more we have the dream of women. This is, well, what an important panel we've had. We've learned so much. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for all of you. Thank you so much for your interventions. We are closing our event, and I want to introduce Dr. Claudia Nayibe Lopez.
Muy buenos días, tardes ya.
Good morning, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for being with us. I just wanted to take advantage of this minute to thank Jerry, Gina, and all the PAHO for the support that you have given us all these years. Really, we face an extraordinary challenge as the pandemic, the recovery of pandemic, and now it is a nice opportunity to be able to talk about the important things, public health care, preventive care, not only all this urgency that we were after all these years, and to go back to fundamentals, to the social determinants of our good health. I thank PAHO, also the WHO for the support that you have given us and for having chosen Bogota to kick this week off on social determinants on healthcare. And also to remind you, as I was able to hear that several of the majors in this last panel were talking about, to remember that the good health begins with good care. If we care for people, if we have free, autonomous women, empowered women, and optimistic youth that know that are going to have opportunity, education, work, that they could have freedom, autonomy, economic autonomy, that reside from their family, on their school environment, on their society, and education, not only intellectual education, but also healthy habits, education, sexual education in terms of sexual and reproductive rights, and education from entrepreneurship for solidarity, empathy. I believe that that way we'll be able to build an ethics of care, having desired and loved children, having empathy, solidarity, to have healthy habits, to walk more, to serve more, to use more public transportation, to involve more in community activities, to participate more in our political democratic regimes, to build societies that give representation to women, to young people, to have special ethics on care, who are the ones who require better care, but also, and this is a relevant issue in the world, in general, for the cities in Latin America, we went through being infant and young cities. Now we are becoming mature cities. Beginning 2030, Colombia is Bogota is going to have a population, significant population older than 50. And since for decades we improved care for children, just women, and just now we have to find the balance, services, infrastructure, that we have to care for people in their adulthood and older years, in their wisdom, and to propitiate, as Bogota has tried to do through care, not only to relevate women from that domestic care, non-remunerated work that keeps them in poverty and far from opportunities, but also to learn to, as we have endeavored, I believe Bogota has endeavored in improving its first infancy and education services, notably. Now we have to improve our healthcare and protection in adulthood, late adulthood, and which are big social service challenges that we have, and to learn to have a sort of intergenerational pact. This is literally today for you, tomorrow for me. All of us were children, and all of us needed care. We could fall ill and we will need care. All of us will reach being elderly, and we have to care. We have to learn to care with solidarity in the family, with school, at work, in the public health and private health is crucial for us to be able to have work with healthy habits, societies that know how to protect life and to give opportunities. So thank you very much for this pondering, for this reflection, for this honor for Bogota to have you here, to have all of you here, and to be able to kick this week off from Bogota. Thank you very much. A warm hug to all of you.
Bueno, muy bien, pues perfecto.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much to Madam Mayor, for her intervention. And with this, we are officially closing the kickoff event of the Health Week 2023 in the region of the Americas. Thank you to all of you who have participated in this event, for those of you who have been with us face-to-face and virtually in all the countries in Latin America. Well, have a good week of well-being. Now we are going to change scenario to give room to the Bogota adhesion to the movement of cities, municipalities, and communities that are healthy. In the meantime, please come up to the scenario to have the official picture for the kickoff event. So now we are going to sign. Those who are going to intervene, we have Madam Mayor from Bogota, Claudia Lopez, to sign together with all our guests and Madam Mayor. We are going to begin with the signature.
Es el acto de adhesión de
This
Bogotá.
is the Bogota's adhesion act to the cities and healthy communities and cities, a significant moment for this community.
Bueno, procedemos entonces.
Now we all proceed to the signature.
Eso, para trasladar el caballete y hacer la firma oficial.
To have the official signing of the adhesion act.
Alcaldesa, gracias. Bueno, igualmente. Bueno, muy bien, pues
Okay,
perfecto.
thank you. Perfect. This way, we are concluding officially the event of kickoff for this well-being week 2023 in the Americas region. On behalf of PAHO, of Mayor's Office in Bogota and the District Health Secretariat, all of you, we thank for your active participation in this event. Together, we can build a healthier and equitable future. Thank you very much for being part of this important step. A round of applause to all of you. Thank you. Now we invite you to have some refreshments outside of our auditorium. Thank you very much. Have a nice afternoon.